based research program here at the Conservatorium of Amsterdam, where master students do a research project in which they connect their playing to a research. And they present that in a lecture recital. Next week we'll have some 66 of those exams in this very hall, in the Sweden hall. And Bobby Petrov, is hiding, graduated 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
On a topic called long and short beats, and now is enrolled in the doctorate program at Bulgarians, in which he will eventually get a degree, a doctorate degree in performance, I guess. Warm welcome for Bobby Petrov.
Thank you very much. Welcome. I'm very pleased to be here and present for you the result of a research I've been working on for the last, I think they're about 7 years, musically, but theoretically, I started to write about that stuff about 3 years ago. And the topic is the rhythms of Bulgaria, the folk rhythms of Bulgaria, and their integration to jazz music and other styles. I started playing this music about 8 years ago in Bulgaria. I didn't grow up with it. I'm not a folk musician. I actually didn't even like it when I was a kid because it was on the radio and every day, and it was annoying. But eventually I started to play with a bunch of people who were great folk musicians, and they showed me the beauty of it and got me really interested, and I started to find my own way with it. I want to talk a little bit about the history of this music, to let you know, for those of you who are not familiar with this music, where it comes from and how it developed. The biggest development in this music has been done from the beginning of the 20th century until present day. The reason for that is that Bulgaria was under the occupation of the Ottoman Turks for a good 500 years, and that was really put all these territories in the Balkans in a huge isolation from the rest of the world. Therefore, early classical Baroque music and classical romantic music entered the Bulgaria only in the very last decade of the 1800s, and therefore the music until then was kept pretty basic, on a pretty basic level. And then of course there was a big development from the song, from the field song or the village song, because everything developed in the villages. From the village song, there was a slow but gradual expansion to the ensemble playing. The songs were the country was already divided into pretty significant regions of music, which had different sound, different ornamentation to the melodies, different scales that people used from. This is due to many mixing of peoples there in the land, to the mountain ranges that were separating, dividing the land. People had different influences. This is how it all started. for as long as they can remember themselves, the people who sang always had somebody who was playing a little nice instrument next to them to answer their melodies and to make the people dance. And this was usually the wooden flute that we call kaval, or the bagpipe, or the little lute, which they call the dulka. Any instrument that was around was used for that. And there was, nobody knows how, but there became a mixture. Slowly there was a mix between a song and a melody, and the song was the melody and the melody was the song. And then instrumentalists started to write melodies which were based on the songs, but they were more instrumental. And they sounded like this. The development of the village music reached its peak at years right after the communistic regime was established in Bulgaria, so between the 40s and the 50s, early 60s, because the government supported very much the development of rural folk music, because they wanted to provide them sort of a nationalistic society idea through that. So there were a lot of government ensembles formed. They were performing folk music on festivities and all kinds of occasions, and they were highly financed and organized. They also established folk schools where young musicians can prepare for those state ensembles, and that was for a good 20 years the only thing that was happening in on the official scene. Folk instruments performed the music. There were always dancers too. Some very talented arrangers, classical arrangers mostly, did a few arranging works on folk songs. Some of them were meant for a choir of singers, which became eventually the most famous folk event to come out of Bulgaria, and that is the Mystery of Bulgarian Voices. These are classical arrangements of Bulgarian folk songs. I'll show you the choir too. They're still going on, alive and healthy, and which is great, because some of the women in the choir turned their 80s now. While the state was supporting folk music on all levels, ensemble performing, dance performing, amateur ensembles, radio and television choirs. There was another music that was going on underneath the layer, which was officially non-recognized by the government, because it was performed and contained some of the elements of the minorities in Bulgaria, which were prevalently the Turkish Bulgarians that were descendants of the Ottoman Turks that stayed in the country after the revolution, and the Roma gypsies who migrated to the land somewhere in the 1400s, and they come from North India. Those minorities were, I have to say, very strongly suppressed from the communist government, and they weren't allowed to express themselves freely. But the movement of their music was strong, and it was infecting everyone, because those people usually had a very colorful way of approaching the music, since they used immediately their own influences from where they come from, which means the music from Turkey, the music from the Arab worlds, the music from India. So their way of playing, also due to their mentality and being, was much more exciting, and it was much more fiery, it was much more sophisticated, and it grew and grew. And these people who performed this music in their bands were usually playing on weddings, because the wedding was the biggest festivity in Bulgaria at the time, and weddings would last between 1 and 3 days, and usually the whole village or town was invited on the streets, so there would be between 100 and 1,000 people on the wedding. So they would set up a tent where the band would play, and the band had to play all the time. There was no way the band would stop. So these musicians also developed an incredible stamina performing. They became very virtuosic, and they pushed the limits of the music, because at the same time they wanted to use different influences, such as coming from the West, as much as they could hear from the West. So they used jazz, they used rock, they used European classical music, they used European pop, they used Indian music, they used everything they could, and they implemented all this into their performances and composition. They changed the instrumentation. They started to use electric instruments, plucked instruments like a drum set, and guitars, and bass, and keyboards. One of the biggest figures, the biggest figure that comes from this period and is considered the legend of Bulgarian clarinet. We call him the Bulgarian Charlie Parker, because he was responsible for many, many innovations in the music, is Ivo Papazov. He's a clarinet player from Roma, Turkish, Bulgarian descent. He was discovered with his wedding band in 1989, and since then he's been touring the world with this music that at the time they called our music, which was couldn't be described as folk, couldn't be described as jazz, it was just their music. Very sophisticated, very pushed, very oriented towards impressing people rather than just dance audiences. They had moments in the performance where it was just meant for showcasing their virtuosity. So that's how it sounded like. And they started improvising for real. For the first time, they developed their own language, starting with Ivo's incredible technique on the clarinet, their own language of improvisation, which is still imitated today. The rhythm section also responded to his improvisation with a great amount of facilitated improvisational patterns. As you can see, they wanted to make it sound Western by everything they could. Of course, for the government, this was a very bad idea, because the Western music was considered a decadent music of the Western society. Any influence from it was a terrible thing to do. This is improvisation. Immediately when Ivo was influencing everybody, other people emerged on the scene. They were just as virtuosic as him, and they wanted to push the boundaries even further. With the virtuoso Petrov, the accordion player, he took a lot of, he took the improvisational part to the next level. He was a classically trained accordion player who really could play, facilitate on anything that was under his fingers. So he incorporated everything into his own improvisation. His language of improvisation is being studied today in the schools in Bulgaria. Another great musician, Teodosis Pasov, as a kaval player who from the beginning was open-minded enough to push the limits of the music, and he wanted to search other colors to express the same idea as Ivo. He wanted to work more with dynamics, he wanted to work with different instrumentation. He was taking a lot more the jazz influence in his music. We consider basically Teodosi as the first person who opened up Bulgarian music. So he came out of went away from the virtuosic showcase element into the more musical, sophisticated element. In the meantime, also innovative musicians, but jazz educated, such as pianists Antoni Donchev and Milcho Liviev, already wanted to fuse the musics together and wanted to play it with jazz musicians and folk musicians at the same time, so that they get this blend. They did many experiments in the 80s with that. Today on the scene we have still very virtuosic musicians who continue to develop the music. Mayu is a musician who plays the gadulka, this three-string instrument in Bulgaria. He's capable of putting the language and the vocabulary of any instrument and any traditional music into his gadulkas. He can play you clarinet, saxophone, accordion, music from Romania, Serbia, Bulgaria, Turkey, Arab, everywhere. Angel is an incredibly virtuosic guitar player who explores rock music and the virtuosic playing of people like Yngwie Malmsteen and Joe Satriani, combining that with Bulgarian folk music. There are many names who I'm omitting right now, but of course I cannot list everyone, and I'm showing you here the people that I was lucky enough to be in personal touch with, so I found out about the deepness of their knowledge and what they're really going after. These are two of my good friends now. I'm very happy that I know these people. We're the same age, and they have their own way of improving Bulgarian music, working and improving, developing Bulgarian music in their own way. The pianist Dimitar and the saxophone player Vladimir both live out of Bulgaria. Dimitar lives here in Holland and Vladimir lives in Berlin, and they are working to integrate Bulgarian music into jazz, I think in a way that has never been done before. This is Dimitar's work. He uses influences from avant-garde jazz, from all kinds of experimental music to rephrase the Bulgarian folklore and to put it for a jazz acoustic trio. Vlatko is a great melodicist who really knows is busy with mixing the modal structures of jazz with the Bulgarian melodies. So that is briefly what has happened so far. Of course, the process continues. There are many people that are influencing and giving their contribution to the development of this music from both sides, I have to say, from Bulgaria and lately a lot of people from the West, all kinds of interested musicians, composers, arrangers, decided to explore this music, which is great. And since I'm a drummer, mainly, my way of exploring this music is through checking out the rhythm. And I want to briefly introduce you to the essence of Bulgarian rhythm, for those of you who are not familiar with it, so that we establish a good base for talking further. Sorry, mix the buttons. When people hear Bulgarian music for the first time, even if they're experienced musicians, a lot of the times they interpret the rhythm wrong. That is, they try to put it in some kind of a form that is coming from the West, either interpreting it as some kind of accents against the regular pulse or something like that. So if they hear a 7, they would say, oh, that's a 7/4, which has these accents, so it goes like da, 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 or something like that. It's also a very common thing that I hear. Well, that is not how we really think about Bulgarian rhythms. Although, I'll talk later about it, there is a way to use that concept and integrate Bulgarian rhythms into that. In India, they have a very sophisticated rhythmic system, the most sophisticated on the planet, and they have a great way of describing rhythms. Their way of thinking subdivisions like that, uneven asymmetrical rhythms, is to place them against the solid regular beat and to come up with different syllables that they use to describe the shape of the rhythm. So a 7 for them will sound more like something like that. And this is very, very close to what Bulgarian rhythms are like. In fact, sonically it's the same thing. The only thing that's different is that Bulgarian people connect their rhythms to dances. So inside the rhythms there's a particular pulse that's going on, and if we put these rhythms on a very basic levels, Bulgarian rhythms are really comprised of just 2s and 3s. What I call 2s, groups of even 8 notes, and what I call 3s, groups of even 3 8 notes. And the interesting thing is that if you see it on the diagram, the accents are actually these downbeats that are creating what I call the uneven pulse in those rhythms. So if you try to think of them against something straight or regular pulse, it doesn't work, because the meaning of the dance steps and the inflection of the melody outlines exactly that uneven pulse. This is the same case in the 7/8 in Bulgaria, which has 2 forms. You see, you have, rather than thinking literally every note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're thinking bigger. You're thinking bigger beats. You're thinking the downbeats or the dance steps. So you're feeling the subdivision, but you're outlining that accent. So you get to the essence of that in a case of 7/8. You would think not so much 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, but you're thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or short, short, long, short, short, long, where short is 2s and long is 3s. That way you can, you're getting closer to the actual groove, to the actual meaning of the dance, and to the, when you're dealing with faster tempos, which this music is played with often, you are not too busy counting notes. So then we're talking about a couple of levels on where these rhythms appear. This is on the basic level. This is what we can define as the hypermetric level, where the groups sort of slur together, where the short and the long, the short groups become one thing, one increment, and then you have the long group, in which now you can even perceive as the first part being the long and the second being the short. That is very handy when you want to play fast tempos or want to hear fast tempos. And these two accents now are actually the down steps of the dancer, is where the dancer jumps on his feet to dance this particular rhythm, the 7/8. So it helps very much to think wide, think on that hypermetric level, and to understand the rhythm in all those levels. So in the basic one, in the short, short, long one, and in the hypermetric, where you just have like a group and another group with accents. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If I speed that up, it's very handy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There is really no other way to perceive these rhythms other than this one. Any attempt to put them on a continuous pulse, it will get you off the groove. This is where the steps of the dancer fall in. Again, the hypermetric level for one other rhythm. You see the downward diagram? Again, these are the steps of the dancer. As long as you can follow that, you have the rhythm together. Let's see if we can recognize them orally. The most simple Bulgarian rhythm, 5/8, 2 groups. I'm going to be showing you now only the downbeats when I count for you those rhythms, so that you see that this is the eligible way to feel the music. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Short, long, 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 short, long. Right? 7/8. Rachinice. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, half a meter. 1, 2, 1, 2. Четворно хора, which is the same 7/8, but the long is on the front. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's a different inflection of the music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Nine, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That doesn't make sense. Челевичко хоро. The long beat is on the second. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's where the dancers are dancing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gankino horo, kokonica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. See, also, there's always an accent on the long thing. On the long rule, the band doesn't accent, they outline it. 13/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 15, 8. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Can you imagine if I try to count 15 notes now? 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. Mixed dance. 2 measures together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now the next one you have to guess. Let's see if you can recognize it. You get it? Okay, I won't torture you. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 13 plus 9. Heterometric roll. It's where you mix all of them together. One, two, three, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They go as far as putting any beat they want together, and the only way to comprehend and to be able to play this is to think wide. The next composition from Petrov is, for me, the most sophisticated I heard, and I needed a good month to figure it out. He uses many rhythms that combine together, and the way he phrases is always emphasizing the offbeats instead. That's why you get this kind of, you get lost. And but here, especially in this case, you have only one chance, and that's thinking big, thinking the short and long. So it goes. So you understand how important it is, the concept of thinking short and long. One way of recognizing the rhythms is also when you, if you really get lost, in my case with this tune, I had to do that, check out the bass line, because sometimes the melody wouldn't show you, but the bass line always will. The bass line is connected right away to the dance steps, so it's the greatest indicator. So I developed many exercises for myself and also for people who want to learn this music, these rhythms that they can practice on. I wrote all of them out in my book. They involve all kinds of singing, clapping and tapping, like saying for yourself the subdivisions while you're clapping the downbeats, and you're tapping your foot on the dance steps beats, which is this diagram, and then you sing different, you clap actually different rhythms against that on different places of the beat to get used to where the offbeats fall according to the downbeats. There's another exercise where I do where I permutate groupings. So I try to sing, I try to clap the core rhythm, the basic rhythm, with the dance steps, and I'm trying to sing groupings that I shift away. So I do, like, let's say in the case of 7/8, I go 1, 2, 3, I sing ta 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 Walter, your screen is very small. Singing syncopations while you're tapping on that thing, even playing it on the instrument, trying to sing different phrases on top, and so forth. Once you have established the basis for the rhythms, then at least what I did was I started exploring the actual styles of playing. On my instrument, these rhythms were performed on the traditionally on an instrument called the tapan or the davul. It was the drum coming from the Ottoman Turks. Bulgarian people adopted it and they transferred the Bulgarian rhythms onto it. The basics of the way you play the drum, you have one side is the low tuned head and the other side is a higher tuned head, and you have a big stick and a small stick. And on the big stick you're playing the low hand, and on the small stick you play the high hand, and you're doing pretty much utilizing the dance steps or the downbeats with your low stick, and the answers or the offbeats with your small stick. I don't have the drum with me right now, but I found a good imitation of it on my drum set. So if I catch the stick like that, that's my low stick, and if I hit the rim with the end of my other stick, I get the high stick sound. So I can get sort of the inflection of the drum. So these are the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's where the dancer is going to dance. If I get that out, or I put it on a weird place, they fire me. A couple of other instruments were utilized through the years in Bulgarian music. The darbuka, Arabic instrument that came from the Ottoman Turks, was utilized in some ensembles. As soon as the wedding tradition started, the wedding ensembles started developing, they wanted to use the drum set because they wanted to use of course, the Western influence as much as they could, but they wanted to hear the sound of the darbuka. That's why they found a way of imitating the darbuka sound with the rototoms, which were on sale from the beginning of the 70s, and they combined the playing of the drum set, the language of the tapan or the davul, and the darbuka sound together. The person responsible for this is the great drummer of Ivo Popazov's band, Salif Ali, who is still today the most imitated drummer in Bulgaria. His style is unique due to the fact that he combined all these languages together in a unique way. I'm very far away from imitating his style. I probably will learn in another 20 years, but I want to show you just a brief example of kind of what it looks like, because it also impressed me the first time so much that I was I wanted to forget about playing everything else. It was very impressive. So he utilizes the whole thing together. I want to demonstrate you a 7/8 in the style of Salif. Not too fast. 1, 2, 3. 20 minutes, alright? 1, 2, 3, 1. how he played all the time underneath this music. Another great drummer, still on today, Stoyan Yakulov, very big influence on me. Stoyan, other than playing exactly the wedding style, he started experimenting a lot with introducing fusion music to the drumming. A few influences from rock, fusion, and he was mainly responsible for creating the kind of a funky feel in Bulgarian music. So if I take the 11/8 for an example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When others would play 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Stoyan would go. Some of the guys that I really admire today in Bulgaria, friends of mine, Georgi Georgiev and Borislav Petrov, they found their own way of doing the rhythms. Georgi is busy a lot with implementing the vocabulary of drummers such as Vini Kolyuta and Dave Wackel into Bulgarian music, while Venci is busy exploring electronic and dance beats and putting that into Bulgarian music. So I recently heard him play something like, I think it was a 7. It was like stuff like that. It's just, you know. So now, where do I come from with all this? Well, I'm a jazz-educated drummer, so it's most logical for me to try to do some sort of a jazz application to it. And I do this by a couple of ways. One of the main things is to try to rephrase the rhythms where I basically shift the function, following the jazz history of drumming, where the function slowly came from the bass drum and snare drum over to the cymbals. I did exactly the same thing. So if you had 11/8, let's say, in this kind of feel during the wedding era. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then funky. So I lighten things up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I started putting accents in different, I changed the role of the bass drum and make it an accompanying instrument other than being the downbeats. That kind of stuff. And then, not only me, but many people are experimenting, and it's a kind of a common idiom already to rephrase jazz standards so that you get music that doesn't come from Bulgaria, which can utilize those rhythms and you can play in a jazz way to it. I'm going to play really a small example from how we would rephrase giant steps in 7/8, and for all kinds of soloists, accompanying instruments, it's a good way to practice, if you don't come from Bulgaria, these rhythms. 7/8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you can play all kinds of stuff on that, on any instrument. You have the feel, you have the groove, and you play on a jazz standard. Right? Moment's notice. In 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, school just jamming on that stuff because we had to learn jazz tunes, but we wanted to. We're getting bored of swing. It's a caravan in the mix meter. Same approach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mix meter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? It's a tune I wrote where I utilized the same thing, only this time I use entirely the bebop vocabulary in it. Same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And now I mix it with a swing beat. So I'm using the melodic material and the harmonic one as well. Another tune where I use a different subdivision, alternative subdivisions, what I call them. I subdivide the same rhythm into other groupings rather than the 8 notes. In this case, a triplet against every 2 notes and a quintuplet against every 3 notes. So you're getting this kind of effect. Look at the down line. It's still 7 with a 1/4/4 in there. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now the melody comes. I'm shifting that bar in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. What creates that craziness is the different subdivision that you put on top of it. Another way of subdividing that I found was to make those rhythms sound slower than they appear by imposing just the opposite grouping of what's possible. So anytime I have 2 groups of 4, I put a 3. And every time I have a 3, I put a 2. So you get an extended version of it. I don't have time right now to show you a little bit more examples of what I'm working on, but you can check out the book. So I want to show you the last thing, which is this guy. He's a very good friend of mine, amazing musician, conductor, and arranger. We've been working together for the last 7 years, and he implemented most of the rhythmic ideas, I think all of them, that I ever suggested in terms of working out the rhythms from Bulgaria. In his own playing and in his composition and arranging, he wrote beautiful music for our big band called the Modern Balkan Jazz Orchestra. And to me, at least to my ear, it's the best, most tasteful and most sophisticated jazz work done on Bulgarian music. Before I play you the piece, this little excerpt from this piece is where I use that other extended subdivision, where I make things sound slower. So in a combined meter of 7 and 11, I made a 5. I made a 5, what is it, like a 5/4 thing with triplet subdivision. You can see how it looks on there. Makes the rhythm sound slower, but everything happens for the same time. So when we come back on it, we don't have to change meter. We're still in the same meter. I would like to leave you with that composition, and thank you very much for coming over here today. This is the Modern Balkan Jazz Orchestra, and you'll hear also everything that everything that it comes from the jazz language in some way is implemented in this music. That's what Alex managed to do. Rhythm, melody, harmony, orchestration, all of it. This section is going to come on the guitar solo, what you see on the diagram. about how he's gonna come back to the rhythm so smooth. So proud of this guy. Well, I want to play you the whole piece, very slow. I'll leave you with this. Thank you very much for coming.
Wonderful presentation and very good example, what we call best practices of artistic research. Not only theory, but also being able to play. On top of that, I've heard him play tremendous second line New Orleans, just straight jazz, but also bossa nova in 15, you know, crazy stuff like that. He pulls it all off, and to just brag a little bit more, Alex is also one of our students, and many of the people in the orchestra.
And
Students
we
who met,
actually.
who met here in school, and so there's, you know, guitar player from the Netherlands with some German bass player, and they all learn to do this here. So, thank you very much. I think it's lunchtime now. Probably there will be many questions. Maybe Bobby is available to answer questions. Do we have time for questions now, Barbara?
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Let's open the floor for some questions. Yes, please.
Then I can put you the piece on the background.
Yes. Just a little addition, please, for those of you who are interested in on working with art music. That there are at least 3 generation Bulgarian composers who use this material, this basic material, Bulgarian music, as a source for introducing the most advanced Western contemporary music composing. Have you ever heard about Conservatorium who wrote was the most interesting vocal music introducing Bulgarian rhythms. And more recently, composers as Ivan Spasov, for instance, wrote symphony. Maybe,
Like
but
I
I
said,
just
I cannot
inform
mention
that Bulgarian music didn't jump from folk to jazz. Between jazz and folk, there's a rather very extensive tradition, and there are many Bulgarian composers who found their own way to pluralism in music on the base of the rhythms. It is very interesting talk. Thank you for your attention.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not a question, perhaps it's interesting also for the audience here in the Netherlands. Speaking from decades ago, here in Utrecht, there was a musicologist called Wouter Zwets.
Yes.
And we heard talks already in the 60s or the 70s. It was in the 60s. About those rhythms. And he counted on the radio with music of that time. And so that was our first introduction, and I want to thank you for the continuation of it.
Thanks.
Any further?
I really think that we should
Yeah.
wrap it up because
We're running a little bit.
it wouldn't do justice to the stage to have to cut it up, I think. And, let's go to the dinner.
If you prefer lunch, that's fine too.
Ja.
Yes.